You're listening to The Tim Stevenson Show with Tim Stevenson and Ethan Dettenmeyer. Right here on LA Talk Radio.
Good morning and welcome to The Tim Stevenson Show. This is Tim Stevenson. Traffic was a little crazy getting up here today, so I feel for all those of you who are on the 405 or the 101 or the 135 or the 170 or the 22 or the 55 or any freeway 10 in Southern California, especially if you're down near San Diego. And yeah, it's a little hectic down there. But as usual, we're going to start this amazing morning off with a cup of My Candle Life coffee. We have always the amazing Ethan Dettenmeyer over there plugging away.
Hey, good morning.
Yeah, that's right. We have my sidekick, Eddie Garcia, in the booth.
What up, what up?
Yeah, that's right. And we have a special guest. He's on his way. His Mr. Damon Sharpe. And he is a music producer for many, many amazing artists like Ariana Grande and Kelly Rowland, Jennifer Lopez. Didn't he write like Love Don't Cost a Thing?
Yes, he did.
So he'll be in here soon. And we'll be picking his brain and talking about all the crazy, amazing stuff. I know he travels a lot. I think he
does.
Out of the
he's
country
always
for a while.
Yeah, he always goes to Europe or Canada.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good guy, and we're going to pick his brain. But, while we're waiting for him, we're going to just talk about random stuff. What do you think about the Clippers?
They got to do it tonight. Come on.
It's the game, man. It's make it or break it, do or die tonight.
That's right. They should have had the game the other night. That was just bogus.
That was killing me.
What is going on?
That was killing me. I mean, they had the game, the whole game.
The whole game.
I mean, it was a great game. They were ahead by who knows how many points. And then, of course, the last 3 minutes, they play that we'll try not to lose thing as opposed to we're winning thing.
Yeah, but, what are you going to do?
Who do you think is going to bring it tonight? Who do you think? Who's the
I think
one?
the Clippers are going to show up. I think they're going to. I think Oklahoma's going to do that, plus it makes for good TV.
Yeah. What about, you think Blake, is he going to be the one, or is it Chris Paul is going to facilitate everything?
I think Chris Paul is going to play a better game. I don't think he felt like his last game was a.
No, I felt that he was probably pretty pissed.
Yeah.
That, and then he didn't get the last shot off, and I know he's probably pissed about that. Because he's the one, he's the sniper at the end.
Yeah, this morning he was pretty cool about everything. They were asking him about the game, and he goes, "Hey, I'm a pretty lucky guy. I wake up, I have a beautiful wife, and I have beautiful kids. And,
you know what I'm saying?
And I play basketball.
I'm sure the Staples Center is going to be
cool.
Yeah, I'm sure the Staples Center is going to be pretty crazy tonight, and anything around the Staples Center. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty nuts. Oh, I think Damon Sharpe may be here.
Oh, my gosh. There he is.
I see a celebrity walking around.
What is going on
in
right
the hallway?
Now? Oh, no.
Uh-oh. We have the man, the myth. He's walking in the door now. Here we go.
Oh, he's such a stud.
Oh,
no.
Yeah. Welcome. Is it sold out? Oh, it's sold out, man. Everybody's waiting for you.
Nice.
If you haven't met the man, the myth, this is Ethan Dettenmeyer right here.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah.
Good, how are you, man?
Yeah. So how you doing, man? How's that traffic?
Good.
Yeah?
Pretty bad.
Yeah. Where were you coming from?
Valencia.
Ooh, yeah, you're like me. I'm in the other direction. I'm coming from Irvine this morning.
Ooh, that's even worse.
I left at like 7-ish.
And how long did it take?
Over 2 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Because it was just,
I'm not going to complain then.
Yeah. I think everybody thought the fire was near LAX, but it just backed
is there
up.
another fire now?
Well, there's 6.
like 11.
Yeah, there's about 6 fires.
I'm so out of it when it comes to news. I'm always just getting it from Twitter or AOL.
Right. So hey, now that you're in here, we want to kind of pick your brain and see how you've been, what you've been up to.
Absolutely.
I know you were traveling. You just got back, right?
Oh, dude, yeah. Last month was like a whirlwind. I was literally in 4 different countries.
Man.
So I started off in Toronto. I'm actually doing a TV show in Toronto
Okay.
Called The Next Star Supergroup, which is basically kind of, for lack of a better word, kind of like a young version of The Voice or X Factor. Nice. And I'm one of the on-camera judges and coaches on that.
Very cool.
So we shot our finale. It was amazing. It was in front of like 2,000 kids and was broadcast live on YTV. And then I was there also producing a band for Universal Records. Then I shot over to Korea directly from there.
Oh, wow.
And did a bunch of K-pop stuff with SM, which is kind of like they're like the Disney of Korea.
K-pop is huge.
Oh, yeah, no, and they own that market. Huge.
So you're in Korea. So, I mean, is Rain still big in Korea?
As far as I know, I mean, he's kind of a staple.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like some of those people, the good thing about these other countries, and this is why I travel so much, is they're not fickle. Sometimes here in the States, somebody can have a hit record and then tomorrow they're like, what does Justin Timberlake have now? They want to hate on him. But over there, you can be whoever.
Man.
You can be somebody from the 70s, Shaka Khan, and they're like, oh my God, it's Shaka Khan. In the States, they're like, it's Shaka Khan.
It's Shaka Khan. Who is she again? Yeah, Shaka Khan.
So, that's it. Yeah,
Right.
but long story short, I'm sure Rain still does well because they're very
So is the
they're big
K-pop
fans.
scene just, is it big here? Because, obviously.
It's starting to. It's blown
Is it?
up. I mean,
Okay.
they do concerts at like the Hollywood Bowl with like 18,000 people, and it's
Wow.
sold out.
Wow.
So yeah, K-pop is big, and I do a lot of J-pop as well. So
Okay. So
which is
so J-pop
Japan.
is Japan. For those
Yeah.
of you who don't know what that means. J-pop,
Exactly.
K-pop.
Just put any letter in front.
in front of pop. You can call it
B-pop.
whatever.
Bosnian pop. What is
Right. Eddie's rock pop,
Hola.
So that's cool. So Korea, what was that like? I mean,
It was awesome. That was actually, I've done a lot of work for them, but this was my first time there.
Wow.
So it was pretty amazing. I thought it was going to be culture shock, but it was.
Were you in Seoul?
Yeah, of course, man. I got soul.
He's got a lot of soul. Why do you think he's there?
Yeah, no, I was in Seoul, and it was amazing. The people were amazing, so gracious. They just take great care of you. And
Man, that is awesome.
Did you
cool.
go visit the DMZ?
The
What is-
DMZ.
what-
What is
is
the
that the
DMZ?
Disney? Is that Disney in Korea? No, what is that?
No,
Or is that like the DMV?
Right. I know. I was going to say, what is that?
that's a demilitarized zone.
Whoa.
The section
What?
between north and south.
Yeah.
No,
It's
I
the,
did not.
like-
I did not.
Can you
go to
stand there? I mean, is it dangerous?
Because the war has never ended.
Right.
And so it's pretty crazy.
So do you just straddle this imaginary line? I'm in North
Right.
Korea. I'm in South Korea.
Right.
I'm in North
Is that
Korea.
where Rodman
Yeah.
stands? Is that
Yeah,
where he
there's
stands?
there's a table. There's a table in a room, and there's
Really?
literally they walk into the room and you're either on the north side or the south side, and then
Wow.
across.
And both sides actually have that entire area targeted by artillery.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it can be hit any second.
Wow.
Crazy.
So if you want to live dangerously,
Right. Stay in between
go to the
lines.
DMZ or
Right.
the DMV. That's pretty dangerous too.
DMV is the same
It does have a Disney
thing.
aspect to it.
Yeah, it does, right?
Right.
I guess it's kind of a big dichotomy between Disney and DMZ. It's
It's
probably
the same
nothing
thing.
similar.
You know what I mean? It's still craziness at one point. So that was your second stop,
So
right?
that was my second stop.
Okay.
Then I came home for only 4 days, so my body, the jet lag was just nuts. Then I was off to Denmark, Copenhagen.
Wow.
Or Copenhagen,
Oh.
Denmark. Let me reverse that. Yeah, and that was also for writing, but that was with through the Danish government. Believe it or not, they funded
Okay.
a big camp with American writers, UK writers, artists, and brought us all in for like a cool thing.
That's cool.
And then I just got back, and then I leave again on the
Good
1st for 12 days to Australia. So it's just
Are you
I'm-
Sydney, Melbourne? Where you going?
Sydney, yeah.
Okay.
I'm speaking on a panel there, and then I'm staying to work with like 4 or 5 artists on Sony Australia.
See, that's very cool. Are they
Yeah.
big in like the artists in Australia? I mean, we don't really hear about Australian artists here. I mean, I work with one girl, Stephanie Maroney. She's a singer. She used to be in a group called
No,
Trinity.
who I've met, yeah,
you've
she's
met
a
her.
sweetheart, yeah.
But other than them, because I was in direct contact with their company over there in Melbourne, you don't ever hear about Australian artists in America.
some of them cross over, some of them don't.
Okay.
I mean, you've probably heard of this boy band now called 5 Seconds of Summer.
I've heard of that,
Yeah,
yeah.
they have like the #1 pre-order album on like 20 charts right now. But
Wow.
they opened for One Direction, so obviously
there you go.
But they're an Australian band,
They're
so
an
there's
So
an
they have a
example of
different
somebody that's crossing
accent.
over. There's some exports
Right.
that came out of there, like Kylie Minogue, who I worked with. She came out of Australia,
Right.
But then there's some other ones that you've never heard of, like Delta Goodrum and Guy Sebastian, but they're huge. Like worldwide,
Wow.
they sell a lot of records.
What about Tim O'Matic? What about him?
He's huge, yeah. He's huge.
He's there,
I'll
right? I've
Hopefully,
seen his
hopefully,
videos.
knock on wood, I'll work with him while I'm there.
Nice.
He's one of the ones I'd like to work with, but I don't know if I
That
will
kid
for
can
sure.
dance too, by the way. Have
Yeah.
you ever seen him dance?
Yeah,
I mean, he's pretty good.
He's like Usher meets Boogaloo Shrimp from Break.
What about Men at Work?
Oh wow, I forgot about
we
that.
go
What?
way
Now that
back.
They're Australian.
We got Eddie in the room. We're going.
You know
way
Eddie
back.
would take it back there.
Right.
But
Man
they're
at
actually
Work.
here. They're in Los Angeles now.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, they have been for decades.
Are they still working?
And they all live here. Yeah,
But
Men
they're
at Work?
still technically there's.
We should get them on the show
Australian,
and talk to Men at Work. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that music from
Business
high
as
school.
usual.
Yeah,
That was the album, right?
Yeah.
I may
that's the
remember Who Can
album.
It Be Now. That's the one I remember.
That's on. Yeah, that was the title track.
That's hot. Yeah, we should bring that back. You could do a remake. You're a producer.
Exactly. There we go. That'll be that for the Tim O'Matic song.
Right.
That'll be his hook.
Tim O'Matic's new single with Men at Work in the background, and then bring them out on stage like Pitbull brought what's his name from Aha, right?
Yeah,
He
or even a
brings-
hologram. It could be a hologram.
Oh,
It doesn't even
right.
have to be.
Yeah,
that.
we're in the
if budget doesn't
hologram.
allow.
Tupac generation,
Yeah.
hologram. We bring it back. So you are best known for what? What was your big? In
Man,
the songwriting, I know you do multiple
Oh,
things.
got you. Right.
Yeah. So we're gonna start.
I'm a jack of all trades, master of none.
because you master of none. See, I'm a Moat. I'm a master of all trades, a jack of none.
Nice.
See, so
I'm
let's-
just jacked.
that's just
You just
Eddie.
actually have Jack in your cup.
He
with
has
your Coke.
Jack in his cup
Jack
all the
Daniels.
time. What was that drink Chris talked about? Yeah, that one. So, so you're known in the music industry. We're going to start there.
Okay.
Like, what was your big hit? What was the
probably
first
the
one?
biggest record that actually was ironically one of my first placements was Jennifer Lopez, "Love Don't Cost a Thing."
Nice,
Yeah.
very cool.
And that since then that kind of like I was fortunate enough it was like a catalyst to kind of set my songwriting and production career in motion. And
now, were you hustling that song? I mean, were you just putting it out there?
yeah,
She picked it up?
I mean, ironically, we wrote it for her, but really had no in to get to her. And then we pitched it out to like 14 people. And at the time, let me rewind a little bit. I was in a boy band.
Okay,
not the one that Eddie and I, which we will talk about later.
We'll
get to that. We're gonna because that's a whole other side story. But I was in a boy band that we had been signed through my mentor, a guy named Rick Wake, who I still work with, and he's amazing.
Okay.
He worked. I was in a boy band. We were signed to like 3 different labels. Nothing ever manifested. So at one point they call like, we have one more deal for you guys. It's going to be with Warner Brothers Records. And I'm like, look, guys, it's been 3 years. Nothing's really happened. Like I kind of want to just wipe my hands and move on. So I walked away. Had just bought my first condo. Went on unemployment. Had no idea if I was going to just lose the condo or what was going to happen.
Right.
And then about 3 months later of just stress and not knowing what's going to happen, Rick called me out of the blue and said, hey, I found this CD of songs on my desk. And there's a few songs in here that I think that I could get, placed on artists for you.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, man, it was, 3 years of up and downs with the artist thing, and I'm not really sure if this, and he's like, trust me. He's like, you come work with me as a songwriter, it's a whole different ball of wax. And I'm like, all right, sure, we'll see. We'll see if anything's going to come of this. I hang up the phone. Within 2 weeks, he calls me back. He's like, I got 2 of your songs placed. I got that song, Love Don't Cost a Thing, placed on an artist named Anastacia. And I got Why'd You Lie to Me placed on an artist named Jennifer Lopez. And at this point, I'm like, I have no placements. I'm like, this is amazing.
Right.
Having no idea of the kind of money that you can make from song placements.
Right.
So, obviously, fate would have it, the 2 songs reversed. And J-Lo ended up cutting Love Don't Cost a Thing. It went from not making the record to making the record to being her first single to being a hit. Wow. And Anastacia, who I actually still worked with to this day, she's a perfect example of an artist that in America isn't big, but ex-US, she sold 30 million records.
She's huge.
Yeah,
I was actually in one of her videos.
Oh, come on.
I was in, what was her first big hit?
I'm Out of Love?
I'm Out of Love.
Oh, that's so crazy. My friends produced that. Yeah.
There was like 3 of us pop locking on a couch in that
Whoa.
video. And then I ran into her, actually when I was on tour with Jen, I ran into her in a room in Paris.
Yeah,
she was sitting right next to me.
She's amazing. I mean, like I said, I've worked with her my whole career. Actually this week, congrats, Anastacia. She had a top 10 record in the UK this week.
Ah, very cool. Congratulations.
Yeah, and I did record with her and Toby Gad on the new one called Broken Wings. So,
man. So then that song, so that's a process, right? So you had a song. It got some coverage. It got it was on the album. It was off the album. It was back on the album. It ends up being one of her biggest hits that put her on the map as well. You know what I mean? Because before that, I mean, she was still big.
Well, she was doing it, but she hadn't really hit critical mass yet. I mean, that's when, as soon as that song hit, then it was like the dress and like the puffy thing, and it just all kind of. And yeah, it just all went out of control in a good way, obviously.
Man, that is very cool. And then so she came in the studio and recorded that with you, or she?
Yeah, I actually didn't. I didn't produce that one.
Okay.
That was when I was just more writing at that point. Now, in the past like 6-7 years, I've become way more hands-on, and now I produce and write pretty much everything I do. But unfortunately, ironically, I've never even met Jennifer to this day. Oh wow! Yeah.
That's got to be crazy.
But thank you for my house.
I'm collecting a check from you.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, ironically. And then I have so many 0 degrees of separation between Eddie, obviously choreographing for her, and Chris being with. It's such a weird.
It's so crazy.
It's such a weird 0 degrees of separation thing,
So you two were in a boy band together too, correct?
Yep.
So you were in Guys Next Door. Was it
Guys Next Door?
Yep.
Man.
Crickets. Nobody remembers.
Everybody look that up. It's right next to Johnny Dakota.
Don't talk about it.
We had a top 42 hit.
Top 42.
We broke the top 50. Nice. No, but actually, ironically, like we did really well for the time frame that we had. We had a board game and dolls and T-shirts.
Yeah, Damon collects them all.
I collect it all because you know what? I want to
collects dolls too.
Well, that's a whole other thing.
Different kind of doll.
Hey.
Aren't they life size? And
right.
No.
Hey, that's
and actually,
my secret.
They actually speak back to him now, right?
Sometimes.
Yeah, that's the Eddie we know. Dang, so that's cool. Man. So Jennifer Lopez. You also worked with a new artist, Ariana Grande, correct? Mm-hmm. How's that?
Awesome. I actually worked with her early on. When nobody was really checking for her at that point, and like she was just on Nickelodeon, and I had worked with another act on Nickelodeon called Big Time Rush, which is a boy band.
They're big time.
Yeah, I worked with them for like 4 years, and they're like some of my best friends. But long story short, that's kind of how I got put onto Ariana. I remember seeing like just YouTube videos, and I was like, I want to work with her. Like, she's going to be a star.
Right.
And I hit up another friend of mine named Matt Squire, and I was like, we need to get in and work with her. So we did a few songs in the beginning. One being a song called Pink Champagne that turned out amazing, and unfortunately didn't make the album because the process took so long to get to that point. And I was traveling so much, I never ended up getting back in with her. But we wrote one of my favorite songs, and she ended up putting it on the internet, and it's gotten millions of hits. But
that is awesome.
Amazing singer. Yeah.
I have a question. What's your process like when you go to write a song? Do you like look at a billboard and go, "Ooh, that would make a good hit"? Or do you...
Yes and yes. Yeah, I mean, it just depends on the situations. I mean, sometimes I'll go in with just a list of title ideas. Sometimes I'll come in with a whole melody of a hook. Sometimes I come in with a chord progression. Every song starts differently.
Write a song about the Tim Stevenson Show right now.
Exactly. We're gonna, right? Tim Stevenson!
That sounds like it's on the new Michael Jackson record.
Oh,
Is that on Escape?
Stevenson! Like that. Let's do it. We can write it. Eddie can sing the hook, right? Go. There we go. And we'll put in our rock feel into that track because he's very rock.
He always wants to put in back in black.
Oh yeah. Oh, he wants.
Like, how about something that goes
You can't lose.
Thank you.
Yeah, no,
Like it's already been done. It's already been done.
No, I condone it.
He starts doing massive pirouettes.
Done enough. It has not been done enough.
Yes. Well, you can never do enough back in black.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. And since I'm black,
you're always
I'm back.
Especially because the guitarist who created that riff is in ill health right now.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
We're he's on the watch, as it were.
Oh, man.
Cool. Yeah.
So do it now.
Do it. Right. Do it now. Get him going. So I'm gonna go down your little list. I have a cool list of stuff and people. Kelly Rowland. Let's talk about her.
Yeah, Kelly's amazing. I've been fortunate enough to work with her multiple times. I had a song on her first album that I co-produced and co-wrote.
Wow.
Her second album that I co-wrote and produced. And then just recently, in the past 2 or 3 years, we did a dance record, which unfortunately didn't end up landing on the record. She ended up going back to the quote-unquote R&B sound.
R&B. What is that now anyway? R&B.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of miss it. I miss old R&B. I mean, I just, in Korea, they love old school R&B.
Really?
So I literally was working with a producer named Deez who speaks pretty much, mind you, no English.
Wow.
But he's like, let's do a Michael Jackson song with the more harmony and the more ad-lib. And I'm like, this is amazing. Like, I never get to do real R&B anymore. So kicking myself after the fact after 12 hours of stacking vocals and doing all these crazy MJ-esque harmonies. But it was a blast, because in America we don't really have R&B anymore, unfortunately.
That's what I was asking. It's kind of
it's a very
lost
niche,
art.
but it is a niche market. I mean, somebody like Monica, who I've also worked with, will quietly sell 300,000 to 500,000 records with no radio play because there's still a market for it.
Right.
Plus, the people that are that old don't know how to download.
Can we bring back Jodeci?
Dude, they're doing a record.
Are they really?
Actually, interesting segue. Sorry to shamelessly plug myself. Boyz II Men just cut one of my songs.
Really?
So I'm so excited. Like, I know, even, it's just, for me, like, growing up listening to them was like such a like an inspiration. So to have them record my songs, I heard it. I didn't get to produce it, but I heard it back, and I was just.
Did you cry? Did you cry?
Almost.
But then he cried and wrote another song. That's the thing. That's R&B.
What's that?
So he cried and wrote another song.
Exactly. Yes. There we go.
That's how you write those hits.
That one's for the Jodeci reunion.
Yes. So do you trip out when you're in the room with an artist that you grew up on and now you're writing for them?
Yes and no. I think the unfortunate thing is, and Eddie can attest to this, there's a kind of there's a fun, interesting peer thing about it, but you get a little, I don't want to say jaded, but you're around so many people all the time, you're just like, oh, that's Tom Cruise. Like, you could literally be at a restaurant, especially in LA, right? Like, somebody's right there, you're like, oh, it's Tom Cruise. Man. And it doesn't faze you as much as I think when you first started. Man. Or even just living in LA. Do you know?
Well, yeah.
There's certain ones that do it for you, and I'm sure that's what you're.
Yeah, no. I was gonna say, Damon told me a story once. He went over to England and he was at a recording studio.
Oh God, this is hilarious.
You got to totally tell him.
I don't know if it's not going to translate as well over the radio, but so basically, I'm at a studio called Sarm West in London, and literally it's me and a good friend of mine named Alex Cantrell, and we're like standing at the desk of the studio waiting for a taxi to come get us, and all of a sudden, literally out of a movie, the doors just go, and they kick open. And this guy just prances in very flamboyantly and very confidently, and just comes over to the desk and he looks over and he gives me this stare. And he looks over at my friend Alex and he's looking us up and down. And I look at my friend Alex like, who is this guy? Like, what's going on? And he's just giving us a death stare.
Wow.
And I look over at Alex. I'm like, what is this guy's from? And he's like, dude, that's George Michael. And I had no idea because he just he didn't look the same anymore.
That
unfortunately,
guy can
he
sing,
kind of fell from grace.
Yeah,
another one of my biggest
really
inspirations.
sing.
One of my biggest inspirations. But yeah, I didn't even know it was him. That's how different he looked.
I love
When
Wham.
was this?
This was probably 2003, maybe 2003, 2004. I mean, I think that was when all the crazy kind of stuff was going on with the bathrooms.
Well, when I was based at Warner Brothers, in development over there, we tried to attach him to a movie, and that was right when the restroom thing broke. And I remember that morning meeting going,
You were like, oh.
What? You want us to approve what? Have you seen the news? And I'm like, hey, look, it'll pass. It'll pass. This is Los Angeles.
What if we spin it into American Gigolo 2?
Then
we're good. Then we're good.
We were having those discussions around the studio.
We got to bring back George Michael. Come on now.
Yes.
He was iconic in those days.
Yes.
Wham.
Forget about Bring Back Our Girls.
I wasn't a Wham
We need
fan.
hashtag Bring Back George Michael.
You weren't a Wham fan?
I wasn't a Wham fan, but the albums he did later,
Oh, amazing.
Older and that stuff.
Oh, my God,
And
yeah.
this is me talking from a very hard rock. Let's see Iron Maiden 3 nights in a row at the Meadowlands kind of background. Going, this guy can really sing.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah.
almost unnerving to me.
Yeah.
How good of a singer he is.
Listen Without Prejudice, all those.
Yeah,
were
brilliant,
amazing
brilliant.
records, yeah.
He had one video where it was all girls singing the lyrics.
Oh,
Correct?
Freedom.
That was
Freedom,
a great
yeah,
song.
amazing.
That was
Love
an
that
amazing
song.
video.
Sidney Crawford, especially as a
In the
teenager watching
bathtub.
that. Yeah, you can. Yeah,
Right.
Eddie knows what I'm talking about.
In the bathtub.
Eddie's now in that bathroom. Okay.
Wait, why is he going to the bathroom?
Right. Why is Eddie leaving right now? And insert flush.
Excuse me.
Yeah, buddy. So cool. So also X Factor. You were involved with X Factor?
Yeah, I was a voice coach, on-camera voice coach on X Factor.
That's cool.
Which was very cool. And then actually last season, a girl group that I've worked with off and on for a long time, and I've developed from the ground up, called Girls United.
Oh, wow.
Then Eddie worked with them as well, and did a lot of the groundwork
nice.
with me as well. And they were on X Factor last season and went all the way to top 16.
Wow.
And then unfortunately, got switched out right at the last minute. But you know how it is. It's reality television.
Yeah.
So it's a reality show first and foremost, talent competition second.
Are we going to bring back girl group, or bring a new girl
That's
group
what I'm trying to
out
do.
of-
I mean,
okay.
I Girls United, I think if anybody has a chance, I mean, it's at It's Girls United.
Okay.
We did a video for Pink Champagne, ironically, the song I did with Ariana. We did
Okay.
a cover of that. Already has like 200,000 or 300,000 hits on it.
Nice.
We just did another cover of Chris Brown, a mashup of Chris Brown Loyal and Show Me Kid Ink. And
Oh, wow.
that's already has like 50 or 60,000 in like a month and a half.
Wow.
So it's great. We're building a fan base, and it's a different market than it used to be for an unsigned act. You
Right.
really have to build it and get that platform to get we had a major label before, and then it was the same old story of an A&R gets fired, the
And you
label
go with the
president
desk,
leaves.
yeah.
But it's a typical story. A lot of people don't realize. You look at like Robin Thicke, 50 Cent, Alicia Keys, Lady Gaga, Katy Perry. They all had multiple deals before they had success.
Right.
So for me, it's always about. I think I have some talent, but I think for me, it's more about my persistence and my work ethic.
Right.
And I think with any artist, the person who's going to succeed is the last man standing, the person that's still kicking down doors.
Man.
And
do you have a soundtrack song? Soundtracks are big. So like that Frozen movie, all those little hits, big hits, are massive. So do you ever submit for like Disney films and things like that?
Of course. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to have. I mean, one of my best placements was on the Chicago soundtrack.
Oh, nice.
That got the Grammy.
Okay.
So I did one song, an original song on there that Anastacia did, the same artist.
Okay.
And then I also co-produced and did the new music for. He Had to Come in, the remake of that had Lil' Kim and Lizzie Gray and Queen Latifah, and I did that with Rick Wake and Greg Lawson. And
Nice.
Yeah, that was a good one. But yeah, tons of other movies and TV placements. But sometimes I'm literally, like you said, shooting specifically for those things.
Right.
Sometimes it pans out. Sometimes it doesn't. A lot of my work is on spec.
Man,
So
that's cool. Have you ever had a crazy bad experience in the booth? Like someone's in the booth, and you don't have to name the names.
Oh,
Or you
all the
can
time.
If you
Or
like.
you could.
Ethan
All
would
the
love
time.
it if you did.
All the time. No, I've had name artists walk out of the booth crying.
Wow.
I've had name artists get pissed off and give me the dirtiest looks you can imagine because I told them that they were flat. And then I've also had amazing experiences with somebody like Celine Dion where I've told her, you're a little under, and she's like the most gracious person on the planet. It's like, oh, just tell me what you need. I just want to make a great song. And I don't know what accent
Crazy.
that is.
She's almost like Pitch Perfect, right?
I don't know what
Celine Dion.
accent that is. But no, she's amazing.
Yeah.
And like, obviously with her success, like one of the most humble people that you'll meet,
Man, that's
Side note, Kelly Rowland, by the way, just to go back because I think she's such a sweetheart. The last time I worked with her, this just shows you about her character.
Okay.
So me and a producer named Cutfather, who I do a lot of stuff with, we're in the studio, and she's like, after we're finished, she's like, oh, this is amazing, it's so much fun, blah, blah, blah. She's like, how are you guys getting back to the hotel? And I'm like, oh, we're just going to call a taxi. She's like, no, honey, you're not taking a taxi. I'm driving you guys. And she drove us back to our freaking hotel. Like, how many superstar artists will actually take you back to your hotel?
I got the pleasure of meeting her a
amazing.
long time ago. She is very sweet.
So
Like that
sweet.
group, I worked with Destiny's Child.
Oh, okay, nice.
Back when there was 4 of them, right? There were 4 of them. and they were sweet even back then.
Yeah.
I mean, they were just very humble. Their moms were like their managers, or at least, so they kept them in place a lot. So most of those girls, even Beyonce, even Michelle, were super nice. Because I ran into them again a few years later. I was choreographing an artist named Stacey Orico.
I've worked with Stacey. I love Stacey.
Stacey was awesome. So she was opening for Destiny's Child at one point, and I go in the room, and they're looking at me like, I think I know you. But they couldn't place it.
Yeah.
And I said, 6 years ago, Lady of Soul Music Awards. And they're like, I knew you. And I was like, man, that's cool. Because usually they don't remember your face. They don't remember your name 2 seconds later. But it's nice when they do, and it's nice when they're cool like that, you know, where they go, I will drive you. Or Usher one time opened the door at Millennium for me because he was standing there. He was like, hey, how you doing?
There you go.
You know
exactly.
I mean? Very cool.
Yeah.
Man, kudos to Kelly Rowland. She's the
absolutely.
bomb. Have you ever met Destiny's Child? Anybody in that group? Eddie Garcia?
No.
No, he's a one-word answer guy. No, he gives you nothing back. So you're worse. So you've had criers, you've had people.
Yeah,
I mean, do you have people
mad.
get
like
gangster
throw
on
stuff
you
at
in
you?
the?
Chase you out of the room with a gun or anything?
I wish.
Throw pies in your face.
It'd be good stories to tell.
Right, man. So your best would be like a Celine, right?
Yeah.
And your worst would be.
I won't say, but he has a very big record this week on the charts.
Wow.
And he was just such a jerk. Like I'm always so like, because I was this former singer, I try to be as communicative as I can in the booth and really like talk with them and get a rapport going. And this guy was just so full of himself.
How about I say it for you? You want to write it down?
If you guess it, I'll give you a thumbs up. So everybody doesn't know.
Ooh.
Well, let's go around the room on that.
Right. Let's see.
But I'm not gonna confirm verbally because I don't want that person to come back on me. But
okay, we'll just laugh really loud and then they'll know. Let's see. Chris Brown.
That was a. You have to come back to me.
I'm not gonna confirm or deny. But go ahead.
Right.
Who else?
Eddie, your turn.
I don't know.
He has a single coming out this week.
Is it a single?
No, it's out. It's a big record.
Oh,
this
it's
week.
out.
Yeah,
It's already
top
record.
10. Yeah.
It's in the top 10. Okay, let me Google the top 10.
No fair. That's not fair.
no.
Can
Come on,
you give us clues? Rapper or singer?
Yeah, singer. Yeah,
Singer.
Yeah.
He. Singer. Big. That kind of narrows it down, right? How many solo artists are there right now that are big?
Justin Bieber.
Nope.
That's
I
who
said I wasn't gonna
that's
say
who
no.
I would have guessed, actually.
I don't think he has
He
a
just
song
tore
out
up
right now.
our mini golf course
I
up the
heard.
street.
What's going on with that kid?
What now?
I don't know. This is robbery. Attempted robbery.
Yeah.
He got in a fight at the batting cages is the story I heard,
Okay.
actually. And these are my own sources.
Yeah.
because We connected the place.
Because we all know he's so tough. Yeah, he's going to challenge
I
and
know,
fight a lot of people.
Yeah,
He was
he's
born
dangerous.
in the hood, right?
And a woman actually somehow got some of it, like took a photo, and she put the camera in her purse. He demanded the camera, or demanded the phone, actually, and she refused to give it up, and he got in her face and went into her purse and took it. No. And basically all the things as a manager you dread in this life happen in a matter of moments.
Well, I mean, it's weird in this day and time now. Like I think like 10, 20 years ago, you could do damage control. I think now it's the complete opposite. The smallest thing like this. Obviously, I'm not even going to waste our interview on the whole elevator Jay-Z Beyonce thing. But look at what such a small scenario they made into such a spectacle. Like 20 years ago, you would have heard something about it and it would have been gone. It would have been like the Richard Gere gerbil incident. You know, it's like, it would have been a murmur. But now it's like the smallest thing becomes the most massive thing because there's nothing you can do with TMZ and Twitter and. It's immediate.
I think Peter's gotten a short time span before somebody gets a hold of that kid and goes and shakes him like a stepchild.
I mean, that's where being at Warner Brothers was very good, educationally speaking, because they would teach you exactly what to do PR-wise and get out in front of it. And here's all your countermeasures, and here's what you do now before anyone's even heard about this.
Wow.
Cut the checks.
Right.
Yeah.
Get the foundations.
Everything's immediate. Right. I mean, as soon as it happens, it's already out there. People can post it instantly.
Yep. Well, I mean, I look at like Whitney Houston to me is the perfect example. I never worked with her, but tons of my friends did, and apparently she was a bit of a nightmare, you know. But they did such a great job. You were always like, she's such a class act, Whitney Houston,
right?
You know, and then you find out through the grapevine, you're like, oh my god, she's the one that kind of turned Bobby Brown out, you know, and you're like, wow,
she's the hood one.
But it was great. It was great PR, and unfortunately, you can't do it the same. I mean, they do it in some way with like the Kardashians. It's very calculated,
right?
But it's still every once in a while it goes awry, and then they have to veered again.
I think
It's
people are
crazy.
surprised when you see somebody like that with the stature. I mean, she was class act.
That's what I'm saying.
She did the national anthem. It was like the best one ever.
Yep.
And then you hear like
Great handlers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Are you kidding?
And you're like she's went hood on us.
Right.
And you're like, where'd that come from? Always been that way,
Always been
right?
there.
But like
Yeah.
you said, good handler.
Yeah.
Somebody who's going, hey.
Even Britney. I mean, look how well that was maintained until the great team was out of the way, and then she went nuts. And then when they came back in, all of a sudden it was back and controlled. So, I guess it always comes back to having a great team around.
Yeah,
you,
or Tom Cruise when he hired a relative to be his publicist and ended up on Oprah's couch and all those crazy things.
Standing
Right.
at the
Quick
God.
succession and
But that was good TV.
Is it for real?
No.
Okay, 'cause I just got tweeted
I've never
that.
worked with Pharrell, but everyone that has worked with Pharrell said that he's amazing.
Okay,
Yeah,
because
that's
that
what I
comes
heard
from
that
his
too.
life. That's
Yeah, no,
someone
I've heard
tweeted
that
it.
he's just amazing. I've heard he's the best.
That's cool. I've heard good
He's
things about
happy.
him too. He's happy. No pun intended.
Hey, and that ironically, that song was written for CeeLo.
Was it really?
Yeah, but
I could see that.
What would
I
that
could
sound
see
like?
that.
What would that sound like?
I don't know.
What would CeeLo singing happy?
I don't know.
I don't know
He's
what that
happy.
would sound
He's got
like.
some chicken in his hand. He's super happy. I don't know.
CeeLo. I've never met that guy either. Or Gnarls
No, me
Barkley
either.
or Goody Mob or he was in like a bunch of things, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, the man's been around forever.
Yeah. Absolutely.
talented.
Ironically, I think the voice is what kind of propelled him to more success than anything.
I
Same
think
with Adam Levine. I heard Adam Levine say in an interview that he's gotten more, obviously, I guess, more face time in the public, more recognition because of the voice than ever being in Maroon 5.
Really?
Yeah.
Maroon 5 was huge. When they came out, it was great. I know you're a rock guy. All
Well,
the Iron Maiden people are staring at me like, are you kidding?
It's not just about Iron Maiden. I'm not completely limited. I'm actually very eclectic these days. I got my Louis Armstrong. I got everything. But it is fun. That is how you could define me a while ago. And I don't even know how much of those concerts I actually even witnessed because the party started so early on those days. Right. I don't even really remember a lot of Iron Maiden.
Right.
I just remember people patting me on the back the next day at Warner Brothers actually saying they really liked the way I did a concert.
And they had cool T-shirts.
Yeah, they had
really
cool
cool
t-shirts. Great art.
T-shirts.
Yeah, they
Great
had a
art.
really cool dude named Eddie.
Yes, they
Yeah.
did.
Oh,
That
really?
made 'em-
Yeah.
I think that actually contributed hundreds of millions of dollars to the
Oh,
to the
Absolutely.
brand. That
He became a thing that
Crazy marketing.
all the kids could buy.
Yeah.
Like you'd have him on a shirt, and
But
everybody
all
would
the
buy
different
it.
motifs, the fighter pilot motif, for what was it, 2 Minutes
Yeah.
of Midnight or what, and then just the Pharaoh motif from
Yeah.
Power Slave,
Now, do you do rock? I mean, do you write for rock artists?
You know what? Not as much. I mean, obviously I grew up. My rock was more The Cure, which I guess you wouldn't consider rock, but I liked The Cure, Meat Puppets.
Ethan just gave me that face again.
U2. It's not really rock. It was a little more alt, I guess, at the time. I guess now the comparatives nowadays would be like Imagine Dragons or.
Oh, okay.
More, I don't know, what would you
Alternative.
consider like
They're
the,
like an
the
alternative
Cure,
group
New
that-
Order, Depeche Mode.
They were
it was alt. It
like
was alternative.
new wave,
New wave, I guess. That
So
was
is
that
there
was where I
rock
dipped.
now? Like what's,
dark, depressing.
But then again, you know what? I can't really.
They were amazing though. I love The Cure.
I
Oh
love The
god,
Cure,
amazing!
too.
Yeah, I mean, I guess obviously just being a kid, growing up listening to with Def Leppard and Van Halen, and it wasn't hard rock.
So that
but
was
it
an
more the
eclectic
pop
Speaking
rock.
about groups that had notorious problems with the producers, though, Def Leppard and Mutt Lange.
Oh,
like,
God,
they
what a
almost
genius!
killed
What a
each other
genius,
several
though! What a
times. But
genius!
Look at the albums they did.
That's what I'm saying.
Hysteria,
That Butting Head actually
yeah.
made great music.
And,
oh my god,
you
still
know,
sounds good to this
You know
day.
what's great is it's when you hear stories like that, I'm sure you can also relate to this. Is a lot of times is in that particular story, Joe Elliott was going crazy. They take after take after take, and he started to lose confidence in himself. And he went next door, and this is the beauty of the just the recording environment. And White Stakes next door, where David Coverdale. Is like pounding a bottle of Cavassier and hitting every note like it's nothing. It sounds perfect. And Joe Elliott's looking at him going, man. And he went back into his studio and he really kind of got it together based on seeing this guy.
Yep.
So do you have a lot of that where there's like a lot of activity, a lot of creative artist activity in a similar environment where they go and they...
Yeah, I mean,
why don't you go check these guys out?
unfortunately, not so much as it used to be. Because obviously it's shifted now where it used to be these giant, like, record plant-esque studios where there'd be 10 studios going. And like you said, it would be Michael Jackson in one room, Paul McCartney in another room, Queensryche in another room. There's all these big bands of different genres, and people would collab that way. Now, because of the fact, obviously because of downloading and all these other things, labels I think have downsized a bit. Even name artists that I'll work with will be like, we don't need to waste $2,000 a day out of my budget on Record Plant. Let's just work at your studio. I've got basically the same equipment. I just don't have a giant SSL, which has become kind of, unfortunately, like a big paperweight now or a big coffee table.
Really?
You need it for the mixing, but a lot of the biggest mixers now are mixing in the box, in a Mac.
Wow.
You would make a fascinating TV show. Just what you just said right there, from the artistic side and the production side, is brilliant. Let me make some calls to.
Hey, get Ryan Seacrest on the line. Get my doppelganger on the phone.
We don't want Ryan Seacrest taking a piece of your action, buddy. This is about you.
He's like,
that's really interesting. I mean, I wish you could have those days where, like, okay, guess who's in the building right now?
Yep. It happens. Even in my building that I'm moving out of, I'm actually moving to a new compound in Burbank, which is exciting.
Which one? Maybe you shouldn't say on the radio.
Where in Hollywood?
Yeah, no. Where are you moving to in Burbank?
No, it's my own. It's my own building.
Oh, your own
awesome.
building.
Yeah, I've been in the other place for about 9 years. We just got like a 4,000 square foot facility, 3 studios downstairs.
Compound.
You know what's crazy? Do you know that little studio on like the corner of Moore Park and Riverside? There's like a one room.
I think we worked there.
Yeah.
I think we might have worked there.
It looks like it's the size of this studio, right? Mm-hmm. But when we had Guns N' Roses on the show I do Fridays, they've done it several times, but one of the conversations with me said they recorded Appetite for Destruction there.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, a good part of it. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. That looks like my buddy's college champion arena video game, you know. And they're like, no, there's some weird, uncanny, great sound that comes out of that little building, and that's why it's still there on a piece of property. It's probably worth 100 times what the studio is.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
So have you ever worked there?
So insane. I think Eddie and I recorded there in our band.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Remember?
That's the other band that studio is known for.
That's
Guns
right.
N' Roses and your
Guys
boy
Next Door.
Next Door.
Come on,
Gosh,
hello. And it's actually more like Guys Next Door and Guns N' Roses.
Right. And it's this other thing.
We're getting the band back together.
Guns and Daisies.
They had a little album that you might have heard of.
Yeah, you should get the band back together. You should do that.
Right?
Yeah,
Get
that'd be
the
funny.
band back together.
Yeah.
Guys
What if
Next Door.
I put a KFC bucket over my head?
Yeah, Buckethead. I love Buckethead.
You can get a lot of plastic surgery so you don't look anything like yourself.
Honestly, you know what?
And
I
then we're
bet
good
if
to go.
you were to do that a lot of your production costs would be covered by KFC. So that's
There we
another
go.
deal.
There you go.
Product placement.
Yeah,
There you go.
Easy. Does he actually use a KFC bucket?
Buckethead? He does.
Is that what it is?
Well,
I don't
it's
know. I
supposed
just
to be.
assumed it
It's
was.
supposed to be. It's
But
the
he
same
doesn't have
color,
the
but he
KFC
doesn't have the
logo
logo on it. But
Oh, he didn't get clearance?
He has the look.
Oh, he can get
And he
clearance.
wears a
I think
mask.
he didn't get the check he
I have
wanted.
one of his
Ah,
albums.
there we go. Yeah.
I have one of
It
his,
appears
like,
to be KFC, but due to copyright infringement, it is not KFC.
It could be Popeyes. I'm just saying.
Hey,
spicy.
it's a little more soulful when it's Popeyes.
Right? You're like, it's Popeyes. Like that.
Or as my friends from Spain said, a papayas.
A Popeyes. Do they
Oh, wow,
have
that's
Popeyes
cool.
in Spain?
That's brilliant.
I don't know, but that's what they called it. I was like, papayas? What is papayas? You know,
Papayas.
you know, papayas across from your... And I don't know. That's
And
one thing.
brutisks.
That's the weird accent that doesn't really... It's not really a Spanish accent. It's a little Borat meets Bruno.
They don't have KFC in Spain. What else do they have? They have McDonald's in Spain, right?
They probably have most of them, right?
Yeah.
I haven't been to Spain, so I
Any
don't
of the
know.
big chains.
Can you
you
mute
could-
that? They didn't pay for that. Ethan's going, yep.
I don't eat McDonald's, actually.
No, I said we should mute it because, they should pay us to say the name. No, I'm just kidding.
Usually when I talk about places like that on the air, it's not so favorable.
Not
Right,
so favorable.
right.
I get a different kind of paperwork.
Oh.
It's
It's like when you got the chicken claw in the fried chicken wing.
Right.
What
We'll
is
stick to
that?
papaya.
It's a claw.
Another friend of ours is the voice of McDonald's, and it's hilarious because she comes in, she's like, and she talks just like, you're ordering a McDLT.
Really?
And whenever it comes up, and she hasn't worked for McDonald's since this year started. We think we are the cause, actually. We think because every time she brings it up, we kind of go nuts, anyway. But
Quarter pounder French fries.
Exactly.
I see
It's that
Coke, Big
voice.
Shake, Sundays, and apple pie.
yes.
Yeah.
The dollar menu.
The dollar. Everybody's
Just out of nowhere, she's talking about something completely
She does
random.
it all in that
Jay-Z and
tone,
Beyonce.
and you're like-
dollar menu.
For some weird
What?
reason, I feel like I need to run to a McDonald's, even though the conversation about something else. It's very subliminal.
Have you ever written like a jingle, like for like any product, or is that
Wow.
Good question.
something that you know?
I mean, some of my songs have been used in commercials, but I've never made one specifically for a product, if that makes sense.
Can I ask you this? I know he's got a lot of great questions, but I have one question that just came to mind. If you could pick an artist to work with today, who would it be? And let's go to a couple of different categories to make it easier for you.
Yeah.
So in your prime candidate would be who?
Well, unfortunately, he's not here anymore. MJ. Michael Jackson would have been my top.
Okay, so
Would have
since
been
he's
my top.
gone, who's the realistic?
Well, right now, and he's not really blown up yet. You may or may not be aware of this artist. He's an artist out of the UK named Sam Smith.
Oh yeah,
Who I
yeah,
think
yeah.
is probably one of the best vocalists I've heard in
Okay,
probably
because
my
George Michael's
life.
tweeting me right now saying, "Go fuck yourself."
You remember that time you didn't give me the time of day at Sarm West?
Exactly. I hated those days. Actually, those were like that's the kind of music they played at like political prisoners in third world countries. All right, so
Wait, I just got a tweet from him as well.
did you? Yeah.
He's asking if we can all recreate the Freedom video with us in the bathtub.
There we
I'm
go.
all about it.
Let's do it.
I'm all about it. As long as my proceeds go to charity, I'll do it.
And which charity would that be?
So let's say if it was like somebody, like if a rock band said, okay, we're going to try and put a new innovative twist to what we're doing. We need some artistic reinvigoration. We want you to do it.
Wow,
Who
interesting.
would you want to call you? Don't say Queensryche because they actually opened for me and they're fantastic. But I got other Queensryche stories I'll share.
So
with
you're
you
saying maybe
later.
are you saying like an '80s rock band or just any band, in general?
You got it.
Man, maybe Imagine Dragons. I mean, I love their
Really?
I love their stuff. I love all the stuff that Alex the Kid did with them. But man, there's so many. I mean, it's hard to say. U2 maybe? I don't know.
U2? Yeah, that's a good choice. That's a
Yeah.
solid choice.
I mean, that was my first concert. I was
really,
like
where'd you see
12.
him at?
Excuse me.
I can tell you, I just saw this morning. Actually, I saw him at the Sports Arena, the old home of the Clippers.
It was the Joshua Tree tour.
Yeah.
So it was pretty awesome.
That's
when
when I
lived in
saw him
Arizona.
too. Sports Arena was.
I was in Arizona at the time.
Yeah.
So whatever that was.
Probably when they were doing the stadium, the
think
second
so.
leg.
Yeah,
where
it was
like,
dude, it was so like being that age and seeing them in concert was just mind blowing.
I saw him like basically a basketball court away, and Lone Justice was the opening act. And at that time, people still didn't really know who they really were.
Yeah.
Odd as that sounds.
Jeez.
Just like the diehards.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
The people wearing like the Under a Blood Red Sky shirt,
Yeah,
and all this
yeah.
stuff from like Anyway, but so let's say outside of you two, who somebody calls you up today, like who would you want that call to be?
Man,
Robert Plant. I mean, come on, Mick Jagger.
Oh,
Axl
interesting.
Rose.
So I was just gonna say, it's just circling full circle back to what we were talking about earlier about how do you really ever get kind of like, whoa, is that somebody? I was in my building. I was just kind of like a shitty building off of Hollywood Boulevard, and I'm in the stairwell, and literally, no joke, Mick Jagger walks right by. And I was like, whoa, this is bizarre.
That's like an out-of-body experience.
Yeah, there's very weird. There's a very few where you're like, that's... And I didn't like freak out, but I was just like, that was Mick Jagger.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
especially, I guess, you don't picture to see someone in that scenario where you're in a random stairwell in just a building in Hollywood. Like, you expect to be out at a concert or at like an award. Like, I've been to tons of awards things and parties, and you see tons of people, and you expect to see them. But not when you're like outside the bathroom in a hallway and Mick Jagger walks by.
No, we know his guitarist. In fact, you probably do too, because she was the guitarist for Prince for a long time, Kat Tyson.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Man, that's cool. Mick Jagger. I mean, he's
That's
iconic.
a good one. That's a good one.
That's
So
a
you'd work
great
with
one.
Mick Jagger, bro?
I wish. I would love to. That'd be amazing.
man.
Yeah, that would be amazing. There's a few of those legends that I would love to work with, and I would probably even be intimidated. You know what I mean? There's some of the more contemporary ones. It's not as intimidating, but I guess some of the ones that you grew up with, it's more like.
I'd love to see you telling Keith Richards, Keith, your timing's off.
Yeah. I wouldn't. I would just fix it later. I'll fix it in post.
Let's tell Jimmy Page or Eddie Van Halen.
Let's just get like
It's not
7
right.
takes. It's great.
Perfect.
Oh God, this is going to be a nightmare. We've got to edit all this.
You will never say, you're a little under.
Yeah. No, that's backfired on me a few times. Yeah.
Give us a band real quick. This is my last question. Then we can go back to the real
course.
questions. But a band that was like a major influence on you that's kind of an uncanny band that a lot of people don't know about. I mean, people know the
Wow.
Cure. People know the thing. Like, what is a band that
the Spin Doctors. I don't know if you remember them.
Oh yeah. They lived their life on the road. I think they were like the Grateful Dead essentially.
Yeah,
They were
yeah. Something
constantly
about
on the
their
road.
first album. It was. I mean, it was very much. I would say pop rock, but something about it just struck a chord in me, and I just couldn't stop playing it. And I was very influenced by the melodies and the chord changes. And another band called Jellyfish. I don't know if you're familiar
I
with
saw
them.
them open up for Tears for
But
Fears.
I think a lot of that was because my parents constantly were feeding me the Beatles, and they were
They
very
sound like a
Beatle
Beatles
influenced.
band. Yeah,
so I
yeah.
think that's why I gravitated towards that. But their band wise were some of the ones. But definitely from the '80s, definitely Depeche Mode, definitely U2, New Order, The Cure. All those kind of. If you're talking about bands, if you're talking about pop singer, it was definitely Michael Jackson. It was definitely Stevie Wonder, George Michael. Yeah, I mean, I was
have you
all
seen
over
that movie on New Order that they've done?
No, I
They've
wanna
done
see it.
Well, they've
It's a
done a
movie?
couple, yeah.
It's like
There's
a documentary, or
There's a couple. There's a documentary now too.
I want to see that. Yeah,
From the Joy Division era before the lead singer killed himself.
I want to see that.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. I think it's on Netflix.
And then in a weird side note, like I was also that weird like the only token white guy listening to hip hop when I was like 12.
Were you? You were that guy
in Arizona. Yeah, so I grew up listening to like Eric B. and Rakim and Run DMC.
You were
and
like
Beastie
me.
Boys
I had
and-
Easy E
PM
and
Dawn?
Aha
Yeah,
in the
listening to
same
PM Dawn?
in the same case.
Oh, of course, yeah, but that was after. But yeah, no, I remember.
because they sampled a lot of '80s bands. I think actually, didn't they?
Who PM? Yeah, they sampled. I
was joking about you listening to
Spendo
it.
Ballet.
Yeah,
Spendo Ballet,
Another
which
guy
I actually didn't work with the guy, but I was at a writers camp with the guy that wrote True.
Yeah. Now, Tony Hadley was the lead singer of Spandau Ballet, who actually did a great kind of Sinatra-esque album about 2 years ago.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Oh, wow.
Actually, like very kind of lounge, kind of very cool, though.
Yeah.
But it's one of the twin brothers.
Yeah, and I'm blanking on his name.
But
This
they've
was
also
like 10
played
years
the
ago.
Mafia guys in the Krays. They played the British Mafia family.
Oh, really?
The twin brothers did.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
had like
yeah.
a film career. I know who you're talking about because the other guys.
Yeah, I'm
and now
blanking
it
on
comes
his
back
name.
to Whitney Houston because the brother the sax player was in The Bodyguard. He plays the manager, Cy, the crazy Brit.
Yeah.
Wow. So, is there somebody you would not work with? Let's reverse that question.
That's a long list.
Oh, interesting.
Besides us.
Aside from the Freedom video that we're going to remake, George Michael.
I'm going to go do that now.
Yeah.
Where's the tub?
Right.
Was there someone that that would say, I want a song from you, and you would say, ooh, I don't know if I want to deal with that person, maybe because you had an experience.
I mean, I probably would rather not say, but there's been a few that I've passed on, and then there's been some that I've passed on, and then kicked myself later. Like Clay Aiken.
I was just gonna say,
I swear to God,
Clay Aiken,
I had so many people that, you should work with Clay Aiken, and I was like, this guy's not gonna, and then 4 million albums later, I'm like, why didn't I just work with Clay Aiken?
Now he's a mayor, right?
But that's, that shows a lot of character that you can admit that.
I mean, dude, there's so many. We need a whole nother hour to go over all the things that I've idiotically passed on. Here's a real quick, hilarious one that probably was one of my worst stories. So this is when I was an artist. I didn't have any cuts as a writer yet. I didn't understand the kind of money that could be generated as a writer. So this is like late 90s. I was still in my boy band. One of the other guys that was in the boy band with me, not our boy band, but another boy band.
How many boy bands were you in?
Jesus, I know. I was like, I'm haunted by boy bands.
He's in all the boy
bands.
Yeah,
so I'm working with Big Time. I was just working with New Kids with Jordan from New Kids on the Block and Nick Carter from Backstreet Boys, 98 Degrees. It's like just constant boy bands. Big Time Rush is constant boy band. And my show in Canada, we put together boy bands and girl bands, and they compete to be crowned supergroup. So it's
super kids band.
You might as well just call me the boy. Yeah, I'm like the new Lou Pearlman, but not creepy.
In some countries that's considered child slavery, but that's right altogether.
Exactly.
All right, so go ahead. Continue with this.
So check this out. So my good friend David Nickel, who I was in the band with, he was good friends with JC Chazé from NSYNC. Mm-hmm. So at the time they were just starting to blow up, and the first album had done well, but that they were doing the second album. And he calls me. He's like, I've got this idea for this song. He's like, I'm getting ready to go over to JC's and we're going to work on it. And I was like, oh, well, tell me about it. If it's a cool idea, we'll work on it together. And he's like, oh, it's this title. It's called Digital Get Down. I was like, I don't know, dude. I don't really know if that really hits me. This is this is right when the internet started.
A fake nose and digital underground. Maybe we're onto something.
There we go.
Humpty Dance. Hello, Humpty Dance. Right. So he calls me. So he goes over. He works on the song with JC and calls me maybe about another 2 weeks later. And this is God's sign to me, like saying, okay, Damon, wake up, go do this. And he's like, hey, we started working on this song. It's really turning out cool. You should come in and help us finish it. And I'm like, at the time I probably had like some girl I was with, some dumb girlfriend or something. I'm like, I'm just going to hang out with my girlfriend, passing on this opportunity. So check this out. So months later, the album comes out, no strings attached, probably one of the biggest selling albums of all time. That song is on there, and I could have been a writer on that song.
Wow.
But you live and you learn. You know what I mean? But my good friend Dave Nickel, he got his song on there, and that was amazing for him. And,
he's in Vegas right now, right?
Yeah. Actually, I just ran into David Nickel.
I didn't want to interrupt you, but I just got a message from our tech support saying Martin Kemp is the guy you're.
Oh, I think that is the name. That sounds right.
Which that song, God Awful, as I personally think it is, was like $1 billion earner. I tell him that too when I see him. I'm like,
and it still generates money.
You guys are still riding the wave of that God Awful, and they're like, yes, we are.
Yeah, and rappers have sampled it. It's like so many. Aside from PM Dawn, I think like Lil Wayne or somebody else sampled it too.
Is sampling still big? Do people still?
Yeah, I think people are a little more creative with it though.
Okay,
so they'll take something and they'll chop it up, or they'll interpolate them. I can't speak. Interpolate the melody. So you look at something like. The Pitbull Christina Aguilera song. Or like that, and they took the Aha thing and they sped it up and they use it, but you just do it a little bit different.
But at least he brought the guy from Aha, and he brought him on stage during an award show, which I thought was classy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You got to. I mean,
that dude can still sing.
Yeah.
It's always interesting to me, the people that get older and can't sing anymore, and then somebody like Stevie Wonder who still sounds amazing.
Right.
I always wonder why certain people can hold it together and some people don't. It's always interesting to me.
Way too quick.
Oh, man. Time flies, huh? Well, really quick.
Stop being a good conversation.
I know. Something non-music. What do you do when you're not creating, huge hits and all that stuff?
Man.
David's got a new addition to his family.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
How old?
A little daughter, Charlie, about 3 months old.
Ooh, congratulations.
Yeah. So that's definitely amazing.
That's bigger than a track.
And it's so new. And I don't usually talk about personal things, but it's such a cool thing. It's
life changing.
Amazing.
Where can people find you?
You can find me at Damon Sharpe, DamonSharpe, all the way across the board. Pretty much on Twitter, not Facebook. Don't friend me. No, I'm kidding.
Wow. Like
I'm kidding. Instagram, all that stuff. Yeah.
Gotcha. Go.
Cuban_Ed or Eddie Garcia.
Oh, yeah. Or the Tim Stevenson Show on Facebook and on Instagram and on Twitter.
And I got a quick plug. You can join me, Combat Radio, and some of our celebrity regulars July 25th, live from Comic-Con, as we broadcast live from the decks of the HMS Surprise, which was the ship in Pirates of the Caribbean. As many of you know, my co-host on that show Friday is the actor who's not only Bumblebee in the Transformer films, he was Quartermaster Gates on Black Sails, going to be joining us. And I think the Tim Stevenson Show is going to do a little bit of a... And there's a lot of surprises. As far as the celebrity octane we get coming through the door Friday, you'll be able to catch a lot of them on the pirate ship. Go to markedmen.com for your tickets. Tickets are $150 each, but you may have a chance to win some. And also, go to Tim's Coffee Cafe. Get the best coffee on planet Earth. It's not just coffee. It's a better way of life.
That's how we do it. Thank you for listening in. I want to thank my guest, Damon Sharpe, for stopping by.
Thank you.
Picking his brains, Eddie Garcia, and always the great Ethan Detmeyer. Thank you.
Great.
We will see you next week.
You're listening to The Tim Stevenson Show with Tim Stevenson and Ethan Detmeyer. Right here on LA Talk Radio.